We're at Florida Audio Expo 2025. We got done dressed in a dress.
It's a kilt.
It's a kilt, I digress.
It's the garment of my ancestors.
Guys, we are going to show you the very best demo rooms, the products that we saw at this show. That's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. So our first stop is going to be Fidelity Imports. I love this distribution company because they have such cool brands like Perlisten, Michelle Audio, Acoustic Energy. Let's check out and see what they have in store for us over here. There's my boy Steve Jan.
Hey,
how's it going, Steve?
What's going on, Batman?
Good to see you again. All right. So Steve, tell us what you did this year, because you guys always put on great demos at Florida Audio Expo. It looks like you have a collage of brands in one room.
Yeah, we did something different. You know, generally at the Florida Audio Show, we have 8 to 10 rooms. Last year, I think we had 11. And my guys told me that they wanted to kill me. That was quite an undertaking. And we wanted to try something different. We've always used the smaller rooms. You know, with Perlisten, we wanted something to give them a bigger room, really let the speakers breathe. And at the same time, we have static displays of the other brands. So we can still show the width and breadth of what the Fidelity Imports portfolio is.
Right.
We give the Perlisten speakers a room that they deserve. And this time we got to bring some big subwoofers too. So
15s, right?
yes, we got 2 of them, and it is a killer setup.
Let's go check it out.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, so Steve, this is the display that's actually active in the room. Why don't you give us a quick rundown?
Sure. Like I said, we want to do something a little bit different. So we have all this extra space. We brought subwoofers. We brought some big subwoofers. We've got the Perlisten D series, so that's the top of the range, in the 15-inch size, and we brought a pair of them. You know, the system really starts with the S7T. So this time we brought the high gloss walnut S7T. The D15 subwoofers, the pair of them. Well, I think when you have a chance to hear a demo, you'll see what this system can do in a much larger room than we're typically displaying in. We had to bring the audiophile. We brought the separates from the FLS series. So it's one step below the Strumento. It's a preamplifier and an amplifier, all handmade in Italy. At the center point of the source, we've always run the Michelle turntables. This is the Gyro SE, and there's something special next to it. The world premiere of the new Apollo and Muse phono preamp from Michelle. Michelle's been manufacturing turntables in England since 1968, and yesterday here at Florida and concurrently in Bristol at the Bristol England show, they launched the return of their electronics. So the first product in that series is the phono preamp. It's a $4,000 phono preamp with a included power supply.
So this is the power supply, this is the phono preamp.
Yes, yes, and they separate the two to cut down on the noise. It's an all aluminum enclosure. It's an amazing product. We've been running it the whole time of the show so far. Everybody's loving it. It's an incredible setup. We are very happy to be back at the Florida Audio Expo. This year has been hopping. New venue, a lot of people. We opened the doors to a crowd, so if you're down here in Florida, you do not want to miss this event.
Well, we are going to check out this phono preamp. We're going to get Captain Analog to take a look at this, and I want to measure it because based on the quality of this turntable, I can't imagine this wouldn't be at the same level.
100%.
So Steve, I see we have some new products from Ruark Audio. What is this, the R610?
That's correct, Gene. This is the R610. It's an integrated amplifier from Ruark, and it's a pretty exciting product for us. So you've got a real wood veneer, beautiful, attractive package, 75 watt per channel, Class D amplification. It's got HDMI eARC, so you can connect it to your TV. It's got a phono preamp. It has subwoofer output.
So subwoofer output has bass management, or you still have to use the bass management of your sub?
You have to use the bass management of your sub.
Gotcha, okay.
But it is a subwoofer output. Right. And it's got Tidal Connect, Spotify Connect, it's a Roon endpoint. So, I mean, there's pretty much nothing you can't throw at this thing. And an absolutely incredible package.
Same interface as all of the Ruark products
Same
that
interface.
we covered at AudioVice Live. I love this little jog shuttle kind of thing. So if you know how to use one Ruark device, you know how to use all of them.
Exactly, and they put that on every single thing they do. The remote mirrors the interface on the product itself. Learn one, you'll know how to work them all. In terms of the aesthetic aspect of of it. It is absolutely gorgeous, beautiful product, but it gives you all the performance and all the functionality you would want at an incredible $1,599 retail price point.
Sweet. So Steve, I see you carrying some new products here. I'm not familiar with the brands. Why don't you give us a rundown? These speakers are absolutely gorgeous with a leather wrap. They look Italian.
They are Italian.
Tell me about it.
Good pick. So this is the Opera Quinta V2. Opera is an Italian speaker manufacturer in Treviso, Italy, in the north, very close to Venice. They've been in business since the 1980s. Absolutely gorgeous product, leather wrapped, walnut finish. Opera has a sister company called Unison, which is what the amplifier here is. This is the Unison Research S6, and this is the Black Edition version. So what they've done with the Black Edition is go on a 4-year quest to figure out how to make the S6 better, and the result was the Black Edition. What they've done is they've changed the circuit completely, dropped the noise floor, increased the signal to noise ratio, and this is a very unusual circuit. And I know, Gene, you're not a giant tube person, but this is something to think about, because you have a push-pull-push configuration on the EL34s. You typically do not see 3 sets of output tubes in that configuration. Yeah. So it's an absolutely amazing amplifier.
Is it a distortion reducing benefit? Is that why they did that?
It's not just about the distortion, it's about the how hard they're running the tubes. So by using the 3 in tandem like that,
less stress on the tubes.
Less stress, longer life, and more power output, because this is 40 watts per channel of output.
And do they make the tubes themselves, or is it some?
No, the tubes are Gold Lion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I got
tubes are Gold Lion.
I got you. This looks like beautiful stuff. I definitely want to check out these speakers. What is the price on the speakers?
The speakers are $7,000 a pair.
Gotcha. And what's the price on this S6?
It's also $7,000.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So you, basically for 14 grand, you've got tube quality, all Italian made.
All Italian made.
Beautiful custom cabinets here. I mean, it's just, I don't know if the camera will capture how beautiful the speaker is, but it's very exciting products.
Yes, we're super proud to have them.
All right, thanks for the overview, Steve. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Gene.
So I was told to check out this Italian brand, Albedo. I've never heard of them before. I was hearing some good tunes in there. So let's go see what these speakers are all about. This is Gary Lee from Albedo. How you doing, Gary?
Good, how are you?
Really impressive speakers you got here. Why don't we do a little overview? I'm unfamiliar with the brand, so you're gonna have to kind of educate me. What I heard in this system was really transparent highs, very detailed top end, fluid soundstage, but the bass, I thought there was bass coming from another room. I thought it was maybe someone else's subwoofers, but it was definitely coming from in here. And I looked at the back of these speakers that have these giant, looks like heat sinks on it. Why don't you give us a rundown of what's going on with the system?
Well, they are not a powered speaker, so there's no powered subwoofer in these. They are just active speakers straight through. But what you felt on the back, which seems like a heat sink, is actually part of a venting system. They're a modified transmission line speaker. So they give you quite a thunderous bass without an oversized cabinet or huge drivers, so they stay very elegant. Tweeter is called an SGS, and it's proprietary to Albedo, and Cristiano, the manufacturer, has spec'd all of these drivers specifically to his ear and what he wants out of them. So they're not off the shelf. They're bespoke to Albedo's speakers. There's a couple of different lines. This is the Premier line. These run $82,200 for the pair, and they weigh about 360 pounds. So you want to have friends who don't mind straining their backs. I call an army. We had 4 guys in here to move some of these speakers around.
Wow.
This one is tiny compared to the top of the line. The top of the line is called an Artesia. It's 7 foot tall, about the same width, a little bit fatter, and weigh 465 pounds apiece. And for a speaker that giant, these just absolutely disappear in a person's room. And so it's very...
And these are like, what, 6.5-inch drivers on?
Yes, they are.
And the amount of bass, the deep bass you were getting from the transmission line enclosure was really impressive.
Yeah. Well, transmission lines have always done a good job of producing deeper bass, but sometimes they're a little chuffy.
Yeah.
These have none of that. He's redesigned his transmission line so it eliminates that, and you get a very clean, tight, and controlled bass out of them.
So what are the electronics that are powering all this as well?
This is Soulnote. They are from Japan. We are really proud to have them. They are very high quality. We have the complete line, and every bit of it, you can see it. It's high quality. What I love about Soulnote, I like the word soul in there because I'm more of a tube person myself. I've always leaned towards tube sound. This comes so close, it almost has me convinced I should jettison the tubes and move into this.
Well, that song we were listening to, Dark Day by Blues Company, that's
Right.
another unfamiliar track for me, but it really captivated me. I thought
Yeah.
it sounded great in this room. And this, so far, just being here today, this is the best sound I've heard. So I was very impressed.
Thank you. We're pretty proud of it. And, you know, between the just kind of ethereal delivery from the Soulnote products with the Albedos, they just open up this massive sound stage with so much detail and focus. You can tell it's a dead quiet background, and the delivery is just one of those things that's not at all fatiguing.
Detailed, I wouldn't say bright, but detailed,
Detailed.
non-fatiguing, like you
But
said.
not overly analytical.
Yeah.
You get everything that you want out of it without having the edginess, the grain that you get sometimes with other component matches. These are almost made for each other, and we've had great luck with the
Good synergy there.
Yes,
well, Gary,
very good.
I appreciate the demo.
Thank you, and
Thank
thanks
you.
for coming in and visiting
Yeah,
us.
you got
And
it.
If you need
Excellent.
anything from us, let us know.
Will do, thanks.
All right, thank you.
All right, so we're walking in the hallways. Obviously, there's a lot of cable vendors here, and I just wanted to cover Iconoclast because we're very familiar with the brand. We're very familiar with Blue Jeans Cable. We're huge fans of Blue Jeans Cable. In fact, I've been covering their products for over 2 decades. I like cable companies that give you measurements and actually base things on science. And what Iconoclast is it takes things to the next level of build quality, and they publish their measurements. And I wanted to talk to Andrew real quick from Iconoclast. How you doing, Andrew?
Very well.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to talk to you.
So you guys did send me some of these cables. I'm using some of these speaker cables now on my RBH Sound SFTR AX active system. Very impressive build quality, very low resistance cables. Maybe why don't you give me like a 1-minute spiel about the brand. What's this all about?
Galen Garris, the lead product engineer for Belden, designed this on his way sort of out of the company. The idea behind it was kind of to address some of the velocity of propagation issues, smooth out the timing of certain frequencies, arriving at different times, as well as lowering the inductance. But we offer all of these cables in different copper purity variations. Same with Blue Jeans, we can audition things and offer the same sort of return policy.
One thing I love about the Blue Jeans cable brand is they could customize whatever cable you want, whatever length you want, the type of connectors you want. CL2 approved if you want to put it behind drywall. In fact, I use some of their 1313A Belden cable. It's one of the highest strand count 10 gauge cables, which is used throughout the Audioholics smart home. So I'm going to be doing some coverage of these speaker cables here. What's the name of the speaker cable that we have?
That one is an OFE speaker cable, 99.995 purity, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. But we also have that in a tough pitch copper variation and then a silver plated tough pitch copper variation.
Very cool. So guys, yeah, I'll be doing a follow-up video with my measurements on it and give you my experiences with these cables. And I hope you enjoy this little coverage here. We're with my boy Gabe Martinez from MaximumAV. How you doing, brother?
What's up, Gene? How you doing, brother?
So I always love coming to Gabe's rooms because he sets up a nice system. It's not an over-the-top system expense-wise. It's pretty modest electronics. The Anthem stuff is solid. The Anthem STR, you guys know I've covered that in the past. It's been a number of years since we've covered golden ear speakers. Let me just give you an impression of what I heard. So we first listened to Sarah Bareilles. It was a live recording, and it sounded very spacious to me. It sounded very three-dimensional, almost as if it was in surround sound. Just coming from these 2 speakers, I'm sitting maybe 6 feet away, but I couldn't hear the bass capability of the speaker. So Gabe's like, let me crank up something with some slam to it, and he put on yellow, right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And that's when we heard subwoofer like bass coming from here. So what I'm thinking is this is not just a passive speaker. You must have some active.
Yeah, so basically this Golden Ear's known for this. They've been producing, I call it a hybrid design, where the lower frequency drivers are powered with an internal amplifier. And you have basically 5x9 active drivers, and it has passive radiators on the side. So if you actually look at the cutout of the speaker, so you have your active woofers here with your passive radiator, so you can get really deep, tight bass. And then obviously it's a AMT tweeter. Golden Ear is really well known for that. So you got that smooth, really good response. And the best part about this is the price. This speaker here retails at $6,000 in the red per pair. I mean, at this show, as you've seen, there's speakers that cost in the multiple hundreds of thousands.
That cost more than $6,000.
Correct. So this is an incredible value. I always say it's probably the best value in hi-fi in general.
What's really cool about the speakers, it's such a narrow profile, it almost disappears. And I don't say that like to be cliche, it really is slim.
Yeah, the way the cabinet's designed, how it flares out, it's beautiful. And from the front, it gives it a nice footprint.
Now, are there different finish options, or is it just this red?
So it comes in a gloss black or the red.
I like the red.
Yeah, the red is beautiful. As they say, the red is new black, right? It's an incredible, incredible speaker.
Good demo, guys. Check out Golden Ear if you want to hear more about this. And if you're in Tampa, go to MaximumAV. He's got a state-of-the-art showroom. We're going to be doing more coverage of his showroom. Lots of brands there, lots of demo rooms, acoustic treatments. Gabe's a pro. So definitely check out MaximumAV. We are with Jack Reacher from Audio. I'm just kidding. Jonathan Cook, how you doing, my friend? Any man that walks around with an axe you want to be a friend with. I am not familiar with this company. Don told me about it yesterday. It's Norwegian Loudspeakers. After this demo we heard, I wanted to learn more about these speakers. Listening to that track, Oh Death, Bobby Bass, I couldn't believe the bass extension you're getting from a single 8-inch driver in a smallish enclosure. So I was like, wow, this is really cool. I was sitting in the back and I was still hearing great stereo soundstage. That cover of Come Together, I don't remember the female singer, but her falsetto voice, just how high pitched it was, yet the speakers sounded natural. And you have these speakers relatively far apart for being maybe 4 or 5 feet away, and I was getting phantom imaging. I was getting a strong phantom center. I'm in love with these speakers from what I'm hearing so far, so why don't you give us a rundown of this speaker, the price, the materials, the design. Teach me about your company.
Sure. Well, you first of all, you started speaking about the placement. That's something we do because we can. It's a bit of a show off. Haven't done that far apart. Still not missing the image. What you see on the Frigo 2 is basically an enclosure where the drivers developed closely together with SEAS in Norway. We're keeping it Norwegian all the way true and true. You mentioned 8-inch driver. Down at the bottom is actually closer to 9-inch.
Oh, okay.
Yep. SEAS really went to town on that one. They've been normally customizing drivers for a lot of producers, but for us being 30-40 minutes away from their head office in the factory, we have worked very closely together on it.
Yeah, I think you guys said it has like a 2.5-inch voice call, so it's a serious bass driver.
Yeah, with a titanium former on it. So
Wow.
And what you see carbon fiber tweeter. In all our lineup, we use carbon fiber top ends. Either on the OR models with compression drivers is still carbon fiber, and that one is the first one in that way from SEAS, and it works great.
Now you said that I think there's a port on the bottom, it's about a 3-inch port, but there's also something on the back. Is it like an open baffle design? What's that all about?
In the back top end of it, you have something that resembles our take of an open baffle. That's something you don't see often.
Right.
You got to dig hard to find anything like that. And that creates a sound stage who's out of this world.
It's like kind of like a dipole radiation a little bit?
Sort of it, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's what I heard. We just heard a really expansive soundstage. Whether I was sitting to the side or in the center, it just sounded great. Now, what are these speakers all about? So these you said are about what, 14 grand a pair?
They are 13,900, those.
Okay.
Thanks. And the Icon 12s behind it, that's what we have in a world premiere here at Tampa this weekend. They're 24,400.
Give me a little bit about this. You have a giant horn with a waveguide and what is that, a 12, 13-inch woofer?
That's a 12-inch driver you see down there. It's our take of how to make a musical two-way construction without being shouty. We hate horn sounds.
Yes. Yeah,
we still do horn.
Yep.
So that's our take on it. A lot of the magic is in how far up the driver plays. We started looking on what's available in the market and we couldn't find anything, so we had to make our own one. We went that high up, so you have a handover process who's hanging together. There's no holes, and it's not that up in your face. It's quite opposite. It's super airy. It's extremely dynamic when you want it. For the first time showing it here during the weekend, the room been packed all weekend, and press and everyone's just applauding it. So that we're super grateful for the feedback we've gotten on that.
Well, Jonathan, I appreciate your overview. We are going to be checking out this brand. I think we're going to get Don, the big boys over here, and I want to check out the Frig too. I really was impressed with this speaker. So yeah, stay tuned for that. All right, we are here with Luca Chesky, his son of David Chesky from Chesky Records. I absolutely love your dad's recordings, man. I love the demo tracks. It's really cool. You're what, 17 years old?
17 years old.
Still in high school, graduating high school this year. He came up with his own company. He has his own speakers that he's selling at the show. And he's going to talk a little bit about the electronics with it and just the design of the speaker, because these are small speakers, but they don't sound so small.
Absolutely.
Why don't you talk about it?
Thanks, Gene. So this right here is the Chesky Audio LC1. So this is a speaker that I came up with and designed, and cool thing is I build all of them by hand. It's a new kind of cabinet technology. Pretty much what it is, it's a multi-layer, high-density cabinet. And what that's going to do for your speaker is lower the resonance by a lot, which is going to reduce the interference with the drivers and give you a really large soundstage. That's one thing that's really nice about these speakers. I like to say they're New York sized. So they're relatively small. They're just under a cubic foot. Another thing that's really nice is due to the small form factor, the drivers are squished together. So you get close to perfect impulse response. With that, you get really good imaging. So with the crystal clear imaging and giant soundstage, it creates for a pretty seamless listening experience. We're partnering up with Cambridge Audio. So we're running their EX line. We have their EXA 100 full integrated amplifier.
It's 100 watts a channel.
100 watts a channel, class A/B. We have their EXN streamer, and then we have their CD transport. The price of my speakers are $498 each, $996 for the pair. And we're pretty much just using this integrated, which is $2,200. So it's pretty much $3,200 for this whole system.
And you do all your streaming and everything through it too, right?
Yeah. So you can stream through it. I mean, right now we're doing local files just to get that optimal quality.
So one detail you left out about the speakers is it's a two-way speaker. This is what, a 5.5, 6?
This is a 6.5, a 1/8 soft dome, and then we have two 8-inch passives on the side.
I love the fact that you use 2/8, because a lot of times you get systems that have a passive radiator, but they don't give you at least twice the surface area of the active driver.
Yeah.
You have to have at least that to be an effective passive radiator system. You actually have more than that, which is great.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not overdamped as a result.
Yeah, that's one thing that really shocks people is that they listen to this little tiny speaker and then they're blown away because it has really deep bass and it's super clear. And if you close your eyes, you think you're hearing a big floor standing speaker when you're really just listening to this little tiny cube.
Well, Luca, it's impressive that someone of your generation is this passionate about audio. We need more young people in audio. I'm glad I met you, and we definitely want to check out these speakers more.
Absolutely.
All right, we are with my good friend Nick Brown from SVS. It would not be a trade show without SVS's presence.
Well, they have us here down at the end of the hallway because we're the bad kids in the classroom, so we get to make as much noise as we want down here. We've been having a lot of fun taking requests, and we're just listening to some Mongolian throat singing music, so you never know what you're going to get here at the Florida Audio.
Yeah, we had Norwegian, chants, all this different kind of music, but you know what I heard, and we've listened to these speakers before. I've heard these speakers when you guys debuted them at Florida Audio Expo, and we have a written review. James Larson did a very thorough review of these speakers. Every time I sit down and listen to your speakers, I'm impressed.
Well, thank you very much. You know, we take a lot of pride in them, and we do have a new front end piece this year. We're doing a Hagel H400, and we have a great partnership with them, and I really think it brings the best out of these speakers. Not to say the Denon AV receiver we were running last year, but it does kind of show how as you move up the spectrum of high-end front-end ancillary equipment, the speakers will step up as well.
Well, just so you guys know, this speaker in particular has 4 8-inch bass drivers. So when you're putting that many woofers in parallel, you need some current to drive them. So it's definitely a benefit to have an integrated amp like a Hagel, because how many watts is that amplifier?
It's a Class AB 250 watts per channel, and I think last year we were running about 125 or so.
Right,
and,
right.
You know, people are coming in here with their bass torture tracks, and we're not running the subwoofer with the tower, so, you know, we want to make sure they have significant output to be able to really give you that guttural sort of visceral experience.
Well, you get subwoofer like bass performance from a speaker, and it's hard to do that at $5 a pair and look as cool as these do. I love the curved contours on it. Guys, I recommend you check out our written review on these speakers at audioholics.com. I'll put a link in the video description. Nick, it's always awesome to see you. I'm impressed with the Hagel piece. I really like that. I think it's a great pairing.
Can I tease that there may be a 17 Ultra Revolution subwoofer review coming down the road?
You
perhaps?
can, but when the weather warms up, we can wait on the measurements. But yes, it is in the works, so that'll be coming really soon in springtime. We're going to have the first one out there, hopefully.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Gene, for coming by, and happy listening to all the Audioholics family. I've made it that far.
Audiophiles too. All right, keep listening.
Salud.
All right, we are wrapping up this show at Focal. We've got Chris Shaw, my good friend Chris. How you doing, Chris?
Doing very well.
So I finally got to hear the Focal Divas, the active speakers. You guys have been talking about these for a while. I think you did a debut about them October, right? And we actually have a video on that on our YouTube channel. Teo Nikolakis is doing a formal review, but I wanted to hear them with my own ears and calibrate them with my own ears. Why don't you talk about the calibration process on what makes the speaker so unique?
So when it came to developing Diva is that we wanted something that really integrated into any environment, whether it be in a hi-fi room or into our everyday living space. And so with the calibration, so we wanted to kind of put the human touch back into the calibration. And so with our proprietary calibration or room correction called Adapt, is that we now utilize our hearing to correct for any kind of weird anomalies within the room, and maybe even odd speaker placement within the room.
Excellent. So I got to listen to some tracks with and without the room correction. It's pretty subtle. It's pretty subtle. It's not night and day. I would say that the correction with it turned on tightened up the bass, maybe a little bit more focused imaging, cut down some of the brightness in this room. This is not a good room. This is a great speaker in a bad room, and it still sounded great. I enjoyed listening to the track Tremors from Sone, which I actually learned about those last year here. You guys did that demo with the Focal Arias.
We had the Aria EVX last year, yes.
That sounded great, right? I really like that speaker. And then we listened to a Cyndi Lauper cover.
Yes.
I don't remember the lady that sang that, but
That's Carolyn No with Time After Time.
Yeah. So that was very spacious in here. Again, this is not an ideal room. I would love to hear these in an acoustically controlled room. But the fact that you can get this kind of good sound in any room, and it's customized and you could stream through it and it's all a self-contained unit is pretty cool. Now you have two options. You can have the two speakers wireless and you do 2496 resolution, or you have a proprietary cable that goes between them, so you could do 24192.
That is correct. So, I mean, this being a active wireless speaker, of course, we wanted to give the most amount of flexibility. There may be that opportunity or that the opportunity to link them, but if in such case that we have that client that doesn't want the cables, doesn't want the boxes, the stands, they can go completely wireless, where the primary connects to the Wi-Fi network wirelessly, and then it communicates with the secondary speaker with an ultra wideband technology.
Cool. What's exciting about the speaker for Focal is, as far as I know, this is the first consumer speaker from Focal that's fully active. And what that means is there's no passive crossovers in it. Every driver is tuned within its bandwidth, so you get perfect phase matching between them. You get perfect integration. And the fact that you only have 4 6.5-inch drivers for the bass, and when you were running those calibration tones at the lowest octave, we were getting subwoofer like bass in here. That's pretty impressive.
Oh, it's, I mean, we found every rattle in this room with that. So, we've had many people ask us if we can tie a subwoofer into it, and once we show them the calibration, they kind of back off with that question.
Yeah, you don't really need it.
We got enough.
Yeah. So I'm hoping this is the genesis of a new series of speakers from Focal that are active, different form factors, different budgets. Obviously, these are out of the reach for some people. What are they, about 45, 50 grand a pair?
So these run at 40,000, but of course that is all inclusive. That is your source, your streamer, your DAC, your DSP, your preamp, and of course 4 Class AB amplifiers per tower. So all you need to add is electricity and internet, and you're up and running.
Awesome. Well, guys, stay tuned for our formal review with Teo Nikolakis. Chris, it's always a pleasure to see you at this show.
Thank you.
This is going to be a wrap for Florida Audio Expo 2025. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please hit the thumb up, hit subscribe. Don't forget about our Patreon channel at patreon.com/audioholics. We appreciate your support. You get direct access to me if you want to suggest video topics. And until next time, my friends, keep listening. And then look at this, we got a Matt Pose sighting. He is real, he does exist.
I'm still alive, still kicking. I just don't like Gene anymore.
Oh. All right, my friends, we're here with Luca Chesky, related to father David Chesky of Chesky Audio. I absolutely love his recordings. I love the
Chesky
demo.
Records.
Oh, let's start over.
Yeah.
Okay.
My company's Chesky Audio, his is Chesky Records.
All right, let's start over. All right.